The Lost City, Finding a Hidden Ancient City, Part 1. Once upon a time, there was a young explorer named Emma. Emma loved to read books about ancient cities and lost treasures. One day, she found an old map in her grandmother's attic. The map was dusty and torn, but Emma could see that it showed the way to a lost city deep in the jungle. Emma decided to follow the map and find the lost city. She packed her bag with food, water, a flashlight, and a camera. She also brought a notebook to write down everything she found. Emma was excited and a little bit scared, but she knew she had to go on this adventure. Emma traveled by plane, boat, and then by foot. She walked through dense forests, crossed rivers, and climbed mountains. The journey was hard, but Emma was determined. Along the way, she met many animals. She saw colorful birds, playful monkeys, and even a big, friendly elephant. The jungle was full of life, and Emma loved every moment of it. One evening, Emma set up her tent near a small stream. She cooked her dinner and watched the stars. The night was quiet, and the sound of the stream was peaceful. Emma felt happy and calm. She knew she was getting closer to the lost city. The next morning, Emma continued her journey. She followed the map carefully. The path was difficult, but Emma was strong and smart. She used her compass to make sure she was going the right way. After many hours of walking, Emma saw something strange in the distance. It was a tall stone structure covered in vines. Emma's heart started to beat faster. She ran towards the structure. As she got closer, she saw that it was a huge stone gate. The gate was old and broken, but Emma could see carvings of strange symbols and pictures. She took out her camera and took many pictures. She also wrote notes in her notebook. Emma walked through the gate and found herself in a large open area. There were many stone buildings, some of them broken and covered in plants. Emma could not believe her eyes. She had found the lost city. She walked around, exploring the buildings and taking pictures. She found old pots, tools, and even a small statue. As the sun began to set, Emma knew she had to find a safe place to sleep. She found a small building that still had a roof. She set up her sleeping bag and ate her dinner. Emma felt excited and proud. She knew that she had found something very special. That night, Emma could not sleep. She kept thinking about the lost city and all the secrets it held. She wondered who had lived there and what their lives had been like. She knew she had to stay and learn more. Emma decided to spend the next few days exploring the city and finding out as much as she could. The next morning, Emma woke up early. She was ready to explore more of the city. She walked around, finding more buildings and taking more pictures. She found a large building that looked like it might have been a temple. The walls were covered in carvings of people, animals, and strange symbols. Emma spent hours in the temple, looking at the carvings and writing notes. She felt like she was stepping back in time. She could almost hear the voices of the people who had lived there. Emma knew that this was the most amazing adventure of her life. As the day ended, Emma sat on a stone step and looked at the city around her. She felt a deep connection to this place. She knew that she had to share her discovery with the world. Emma decided to write a book about her adventure and the lost city. But Emma's adventure was not over yet. She still had many questions. Who had built the city? Why was it abandoned? What did the symbols mean? Emma knew she had to stay and find the answers. To be continued in Part 2. The Lost City. Finding a Hidden Ancient City. Part 2. Emma woke up to the sounds of the jungle. Birds were singing, and the morning sun was peeking through the trees. She felt excited about another day of exploration. She had so many questions about the lost city and was determined to find some answers. After a quick breakfast, Emma started her day by exploring the temple again. She studied the carvings on the walls. There were images of people farming, hunting, and celebrating. Emma realized that the carvings told the story of the city's inhabitants. They showed how the people lived, what they believed in, and how they interacted with nature. Emma noticed a series of carvings that seemed to tell a sad story. The pictures showed people leaving the city and moving away. Emma wondered why they had to leave. She decided to search for more clues in other parts of the city. She walked through the narrow streets, looking at the houses and other buildings. Many of them were in ruins, but Emma could still see signs of the people who had lived there. She found old pottery, tools, and even some pieces of jewelry. Each item told a story about the lives of the city's inhabitants. Emma found a building that looked like it might have been a library or a school. Inside, she found shelves filled with ancient scrolls and books. Most of them were too old and fragile to touch, but Emma carefully picked up a few that looked readable. She spent hours studying the scrolls, trying to understand the language and symbols. One scroll caught her attention. It seemed to be a diary of a person who had lived in the city. The diary talked about daily life, the festivals they celebrated, and the challenges they faced. Emma learned that the city had been a thriving community with a rich culture and history. But the diary also mentioned a great disaster that had forced the people to leave. Emma felt a chill run down her spine. What had happened to the city? As Emma continued her exploration, she found a large building at the edge of the city. It looked like it had once been a grand palace. She entered the building and found herself in a huge hall with tall columns and intricate carvings. At the center of the hall, there was a large stone throne. Emma imagined the king or queen of the city sitting on the throne, ruling over the people. Emma walked around the palace, exploring the different rooms. She found beautiful tapestries, pieces of furniture, and more scrolls. Each room was filled with treasures and artifacts. Emma felt like she was walking through a museum. She took many pictures and wrote detailed notes in her notebook. In one of the rooms, Emma found a hidden door. She pushed it open and discovered a secret chamber. Inside, there were more scrolls and a large, old book. Emma carefully opened the book and started to read. The book was written in the same language as the other scrolls, but Emma could understand some of the words. The book told the story of the city's founding. It was built by a great leader who wanted to create a perfect society. The people were happy and prosperous for many years. But then, a terrible drought hit the city. The rivers dried up, and the crops failed. The people were forced to leave the city in search of food and water. Emma felt a deep sadness as she read the book. She could feel the pain and struggle of the people who had lived in the city. But she also felt a sense of wonder and admiration. The city was a testament to the strength and resilience of its inhabitants. As the sun began to set, Emma knew she had to leave the lost city soon. She packed her bag with some of the scrolls, the diary, and the book. She wanted to take them back to share with the world. She knew that the story of the lost city needed to be told. Emma spent one last night in the city. She sat by the stone gate, looking at the stars. She felt a deep connection to the place and its history. She knew that her adventure had changed her forever. The next morning, Emma began her journey back home. The path was long and difficult, but she felt a sense of fulfillment. She had found the lost city and uncovered its secrets. She knew that her discovery would inspire others to learn more about the past. When Emma finally returned home, she shared her findings with historians and archaeologists. They were amazed by her discovery and helped her translate the scrolls and the book. Emma wrote a detailed account of her adventure and the lost city. Her book became a bestseller, and people from all over the world wanted to learn more about the ancient city and its people. Emma's story inspired many others to explore and learn about the past. She continued to travel and discover new places, always seeking to uncover the mysteries of history. The lost city remained one of her greatest discoveries, and she always cherished the memories of her adventure. Emma's journey to the lost city taught her that the past is full of stories waiting to be discovered. She learned that every place has a history, and every person has a story to tell. Emma knew that her love for exploration and learning would never end, and she was excited to see where her next adventure would take her. The end.